Hello, dear friends. Here we are for another study of the book Calmness by the Spirit Emmanuel through the mediumship of Francisco Candido Xavier. In today's chapter, Emmanuel titled it Domestic Disputes. Let me put it here. Look at this. Disputes. So we all know what we are talking about. As you and I are aware of, the home is the school for the souls, as Jesus tells us in the book Jesus in the Home by Neil Lucio, through the blessed mediumship of Francisco Candido Xavier. So today we're going to learn how we should act in order to bring ourselves into a calm state if we find that we have domestic disputes in this lifetime. Likely we've had many disputes in the past lives, and we may have some in this life. Remember, divine providence willed us to come together in a specific domestic circle so that we can improve and learn to love and grow through love instead of pain. So if we find ourselves in the middle of domestic disputes due to the fact that we are all returning to redress past mistakes and to learn together, how do we do? What do we do? Emmanuel will tell us, for a small domestic dispute, an extensive flow of feuds and further quarrels can arise. Learn to listen without contradicting, to clarify any obscure point in an appropriate moment. And that is an evidence or sign of understanding of wisdom. Let's stop here in this first two phrases. How good are we doing with listening to others? A lot of times we're engaging in conversations and we are not listening. We're hearing the sounds. We are plotting in our heads what is the next thing we're going to say. So if you have a domestic dispute and you find yourself in contradiction with your family members, the first thing Emmanuel says, learn to listen without contradicting. And then find an appropriate moment to clarify anything you didn't understand. And he said, listening without contradiction is an evident sign of understanding and wisdom. As we practice, this is a skill you and I can learn. We have to get away from, this is how we've done things. This is how I am. No, you can learn to listen. We can learn to be quiet. We can learn to enjoy moments of reflection. That's a skill we can learn, and we most importantly can teach others, such as the loved ones entrusted to us by God. He first will say, help the child not only to smile, but also to educate themselves. When we learn at a young age to control our emotions, to take into account the point of views of others, to put ourselves in others' shoes, doing all to others what we want them to do to us, then we can grow into the wisdom and understanding that now, in this lifetime, you and I are ready to grow and learn. So, because there's more to life than just joy. Joyful moments are what we should aim for, but there's also need for us to be here learning and growing. He will continue by talking now about our relatives. It says, respect the relatives of the heart who connect us in this earthly existence. It's a valuable protection against unnecessary maladjustment. So when we disagree, if we respect our relatives of the heart, remember in this life, in this planet, where you and I find ourselves with. Of course, we want to be in a higher dimensional, vibrational level, and we will grow one day to be in a joyful world, in a divine world. That's our destiny. The law of progress dictates not only the progress of each and every one of us in the scale of the hierarchy of the spirits as we find in the Spirits book, but also the law of progress dictates that we are going to improve. The planet will improve, so each and every inhabitant of those planets. So that's what makes us grow. However, in this life, we still need two cells as the medicine of current times. You need an egg and a sperm cell to give us the genetic material that you and I need to develop a physical body. So we counted on our parents coming together and conceiving us, whichever way that was done. And then their parents conceiving them, their parents, so on and so forth. So we have those relatives of the heart, which we thank with a lot of gratitude for connecting us with the earthly existence. Because without them, we wouldn't have the physical body that allows us to live together and learn. Now, this is one that we have trouble generally in this world. The next phrase says, avoid criticizing this or that less pleasant detail in the home environment. Cooperating in silence so the snags disappear. How many times we make things worse than they are? How many times we pick on each and every little detail instead of cooperating in silence? Of course, we need to address the details as they appear. We need to have a common value and goals in our home environments. Everybody needs to participate and contribute to the workings of the home, because we're all living in there. So there's got to be a set of shared values and clarifications and understanding of expectations, what is expected of you and I, correct? The next thing is censure nothing. How many times it goes with criticizing the less pleasant details, right? It comes with reminding us that we are censoring and criticizing a lot of the time. All right, friends, I'm back. Okay, so we were in censure. Censure nothing. Collaborating so the problems are solved without alterations or reproach. That goes hand in hand with the avoid criticizing. And he says silence about more contentious issues in the family that would prevent the explosion of offensive conversations or useless conversations. So we need to avoid those contentious topics so that we don't keep triggering and pushing the buttons of others. So no criticizing, no censoring, and silencing issues of contention. That does not mean we shouldn't try to have a conversation and understand different points of view. It just means we're not purposefully bringing them up so that we can now have domestic disputes. Remember the title? Domestic disputes. Do not relieve the misunderstandings of yesterdays in any phases of our past, so that faults and errors in the home are truly forgotten. Now this is the rumination phase. We take a picture of something that happens to us. Someone did something, said something, and that's the image we have of them, and we never grow and evolve to fully understand that was one snapshot. We keep reliving that over and over again, that hurt and that feeling. And I want to remind us that we are spirit, enveloped by our paraspiritual body, or connected to our paraspiritual body, that then is connected to the physical body. Our mind, the spirit's mind, commands the cells of the paraspirit that then dictates the cells of the physical body's behavior. So that multidimensional composition, in addition to our emotional cells, our psychological issues, our physical and physiological issues that we may be experiencing in our social relationships. So we are multidimensional. All of these comes into resolving domestic disputes in different angles. So if we keep finding ourselves ruminating, censoring, criticizing, and bringing up the issue so we can have the disputes, then we have to go and get help. Psychological help, see a psychologist or a licensed therapist, and work on those difficult times, family therapy, couples therapy, individual therapy. We need to volunteer, because the volunteering gives you a perspective on the needs of others, and also selfishly is good for your health as well, as science shows. We need to reach out and have less needs and more to give to others. And he will, last but not least, say, let us learn not to shout, but to talk, just have a normal tone of voice conversations. And especially when we meet with our family members and friends. When this first airs, if you're not watching this on demand, it's in November in the USA. And here we have Thanksgiving with our family members and friends, and then later, we have the holiday season where we meet. And sometimes small things escalate to shouting and offensive conversations, offensive exchanges. And you say, let us learn to talk and not to shout. And the last phrase is, don't forget, union starts from the home, but general calm begins in yourself, begins in you. So when we talk about we want to learn about calmness by Emmanuel, we also think about the entire area. But if each and every one of us feels calm, that propagates the overall sum of our thoughts, our feelings, and our ideas is what we get exteriorized in our workplaces, in our society, so on and so forth. So it's very important for us to think about how to behave when we have domestic disputes. And I hope this has helped you, dear friends. And then between now and the next time that we meet for another chapter of the book Calmness, you have a wonderful week. May you stay well and safe. Take care of someone else and yourself, and I will see you soon.